But let me pull up the line and the total for this game because I think it was at Clemson minus 3.5. So, yeah, I think it's at right now. Over under is 47.5. That's a really interesting total. So the implied score would be what? 20, 25, 23? No, well,
20,
20
no.
math is not math in today.
Yeah.
47, 3, 44.
24, 21.
Yeah.
No, that's
wait, no, 25 to 22. That's
okay.
Actually, or something like that. That is
25, 21, 25, 22.
Yeah. So that's that's an interesting implied score, but well, I mean, it'd be weird if those totals exactly were hit, but kind of that. So this Vegas kind of sees it as a 20, both teams in the low 20s. It's going to be a defensive, kind of slugfest a little bit. What do you think? What do you think about the? First of all, what do you think about the total? Because the spread could be a little bit more, a little bit more spicy.
I feel like it could be a little higher, but I could definitely see a game like that. And I think who do you think benefits more from that game? I think probably, I don't know.
If this game got pointsy, I would say it favors Clemson.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning that way too.
But if it goes, I think it would be best for if this was a low scoring game for Notre Dame, because if it gets pointsy, you're going to be passing the ball more, and Clemson's passing game isn't elite. It's not Drew Pine's passing game. It's not on the level of Drew Pine, and I don't want to make this a Drew Pine slander, but but he's not going to be a guy that could win Notre Dame a shootout.
Just don't, yeah. I wanted for Steve Angeli to get some playing time in that UNLV game, but it just didn't happen. But he did hand the ball off at the end of the game.
Does the coaching staff I'm obviously they don't think he's ready, but what do you think? Is he? I mean, I know he was a 4-star. Was he a 4-star coming out?
Four-star.
So I mean, pretty highly rated kid. But what do you think? The problem is that his position coach is Tommy Rees, and Drew Pine wasn't a low rated guy. He was a 4-star, I think, coming out, and he's been in the program for 3 years now. This is and he still is not that great. So it's like,
I didn't want to just over trash on Tommy Rees this show, so I tried to get away from that, but it's so frustrating. Like, we have these guys that they look so good in high school, and then in college it's like, what happened? This isn't the same kid.
Right. Do you think a change is coming regardless of what happens this season?
I think so, because I don't think Tommy Rees wanted to put in Steve Angeli at all. So the fact that he at least handed the ball off, I mean, that's a good sign. That changed.
Well, I meant more like Tommy Rees's job. I didn't. Do you think there's going to be a change at offensive coordinator at the end of the season?
I hope so, man. I mean, that Stanford game, I think, was a fireable offense. Did you think he was? Do you think he's done after that Stanford game?
I thought he was. I mean, I didn't think he was going to get fired after the Stanford game. Coordinator changes early in the season, but I thought that should have been the nail in the coffin. That is.
Oh yeah,
the way that was managed. That whole game. I mean, did Drew Pine I think Drew Pine how many times did Drew Pine pass the ball in that game? I know he passed a ton.
I think he was 8 for 19.
Oh, I thought he passed more than that. Well, yeah. Well, that's yikes. But but some of but still, that game was poorly That was
It
just
was
a
like
poor
getting
game
a
plan.
tooth pulled without painkiller.
Yeah, it just and some of his, the personnel decisions, you know, not getting the ball to his playmaker. It's a yeah, that was an awful game. And
Terrible game as a neutral, and even worse game as a Notre Dame football fan.
yeah. And it's just kind of crazy because you go back when his first year as offensive coordinator was the COVID year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I watched him call a pretty damn good game against Clemson. Um, and he outcoached Brent Venables in a lot of ways in that game. And so I was like, wow, he's got a bright future as a coordinator. He is an up and coming guy. And I know that was
I thought so too.
that was the feeling around the program. And since then it just, and even going back to last season, especially Notre Dame went on that stretch. I remember they were putting up like 40 a game. Jack Cohn was putting up some numbers. They weren't a great running team, but they were finding ways to get make plays in the passing game. And I was like, oh, well, he's a pretty adaptable guy. He knows his personnel and he knows how to scheme to his personnel. And then this season, and it's just been
Painful.